here's the pretty much the finished product without the animations attached. This is just simply the skeletal form in 3D model. I don't think he looks too shabby. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. Oh, I gotta set my mouse correctly. And there we are. Have you ever had that problem to where everything's pink on your model? It's telling you that it doesn't know where the texture data is. You simply go back into here, go into actually image, open image, refind it, click on the image and open it, and it will import the image in. If you have several textures, you'll have to do that for every single texture, and everything will be fine again. Unfortunately, it didn't do that this time. I don't know why. Maybe it's these other two Blend 1 and Blend 2 files. Maybe I did not copy those before. Maybe that's the reason why it would not know where the texture data is. That's an enigma to me, but if it happens, hopefully you know what to do now. Okay, so we have this. Now I'm going to want to separate this skeleton into separate pieces. The reason being, I think I've told you in the past videos that I want to have skeletons laying around here and there, you know, of past battles, just kind of give a history of what happened in a specific area, you know, just for the background. So, and I might have bones to where you can grind them up and use them in potions. It might be a femur bone only or something like that. But in any case, I want a separate file to use for the monster and a separate file to use for those pieces. So I'm going to save this as, not sure where should I put that. Oh, those are like debris, maybe? You know, I might just keep it in here. Melangi skeleton pieces. We'll just call it that. Okay. So now we have this one. I'll close this out, and I'm going to use Melangi skeleton as the creature. Okay. Now I had some. What do you have to do in order to get this in as a usable model for a monster or NPC, non-player character, or an actual character your player uses? Well, I'm going to do Alt hide. I have several things already that I had hidden. So anything you want to hide in Blender like that, press H. Alt H brings them back. So I pressed Alt H and brought all these guys back. So this is a bounds cube connected to a bounds. And bounds is this simple little piece here, or this little star looking thing. It's just a point in 3D space, and those are called empties. So where are we? There it is. Those are empties. So you add an empty, and then you go over here and you name it whatever you want to name it. Now the exporter for the exporter for Blender or Collada, file export as Collada, DAE extension is what it will be, requires several things. I'm going to delete this empty, it's not necessary right now. We have the bounding box that tells the system it's how much volume the character is going to take up, which is important for collisions, for ray casts hitting the character, which are invisible vectors that so you can detect what kind of creature this is. For instance, you have BIP01, I don't think is necessary anymore. That's some old school stuff. And bounds is the right here is the 3D point space that this actual bounds cube is connected to. So the exporter, for whatever reason, needs bounds, and then the actual cube that goes around it that you add in is called bounds cube. So you're going to need that. All right. Then you are going to need. You don't need that. You need. Well, let's go into the actual character, and I'll show you what you need. Melangi. Oh, we're in monsters. Okay. Well, see, things are getting confusing here. Let's go to the original character we broke apart. This is actually a player character. Now this has the bones. We'll add that in later. I'll steal this bone set, put it into the other file, and then connect it. I'll show you how to do that. I'll hide that for right now. I want to know what we need here. Bones. Oh, I see. Well, Alt hide. Fortunately, because all the mount points that I used to have as just 3D empties are now part of the bone structure, so it goes along with the animation. You're going to see a lot of these mount points. Mount 16, that's that one. So these are for the armor pieces. There's quite a few. You have Mount 9, another armor piece, not very important. We have 12, yes. Where is 0? There it is. Okay. So 0 is going to go on the right hand, and I can just put in a 3D point and call it Mount 0. I'll just do that. And the Alt I, that's for when going into third-person perspective. If you want to do that, have the eye and the cam. That's where normally the camera connects to the player, so you can see what you're doing. And all these other mount points are not really important, except for armor, which will be important for the skeleton creature. I might want to have one of the skeleton creatures have armor, so, or visible armor. We can do all kinds of variations, which will be cool, and I actually plan on doing that. So I'm going to put the Mount 0 in. Simple enough. Let's go ahead and do that. Matter of fact, what is this connected to? Nothing. Shift D. Grab. I'll just copy that empty. Position it right about where the weapon would probably be. And this Mount 0 is going to determine where that weapon mounts to. When I tell this character to mount a weapon, it's going to mount right here on Mount 0, which has got to be renamed. Mount 0. Alright, simple enough, right? Oh, cancel. File. Save. File. Export. Voila. Now, let's see. Okay. Laryngi skeleton. This is going to be, yeah, that's good. And the laryngi skeleton pieces is what I will use to start breaking apart. I might call its one file skull, the other file full skeleton, etc. So let's go ahead and export that. Now, I have to do all kinds of things to get this guy in there. If I bring him in, he'll be exactly the same way that we had before. So I use Game Notepad or Notepad++, which is Notepad on steroids. Let's see. There he is. This is going to get interesting. Okay. Now I have a separate file just for the monster AI. These are particle data. It's not important. I think I'll use Skin Crawler and just copy that over and start making this into a monster. Blood type. Okay. Well, that one's a little complicated. Hopefully the Retro Crypt will be a lot easier. I gotta rename that. It's an old school name for an old monster we used to play in the board game. Here he is. It's supposed to be based off the retrovirus rather than retro stuff. Let's see here. trying to think of two things at one time. It's hard. Okay, we have Elangi. I think that should be it. Now this is the data block. It was put in monsters, okay, and it was Elangi skeleton. It's a DAE file. Good. We'll just leave all of that. This is just little bits and pieces of information that will change over time. How fast it goes, you know, max speed, mass. Generally, these things remain relatively the same. This category is monsters. That's fine. We have, when he's added in, we have an object instance. I don't like typing this every time, so I'm a little lazy. Paste. There we go. Alright, we cancel whatever is initiated upon him at first to reinstantiate what he should be. And we start him up again, give him a think cycle. And everything looks good. These are all little things that allow for the armor to be understood and all kinds of things that I have made here. Natural attack, that's fine, so we won't see a weapon on him. I might change that actually. I'd like to see a weapon. So I don't like to see like it's Kaylee's or something. I have to name these things weird as opposed to what I normally would name them for naming convention concepts when you have to break apart a name and reform it to get additional data. Sounds weird, but that's what you have to do. So I end up with all kinds of weird names. We'll just leave it the way it is for right now. I don't feel like spending too much more time looking for that. So we'll go here. Oh, first we'll save it. And what do we have here? There we go. And at the very beginning we have to... Actually, we don't have to do this. This is only if we made that an NPC player. This is a monster. So it's not going to be exactly the same. Alright. Now, how do we load him in? I'm trying to figure that out. I should be able to do it this way. Right here. Only tornado. I guess we could form it this way. So I have made a command called form maker. I put in 0 for the object because that's not important. It's just for placement. So other functions can use it, and it assumes %object to equal 0. And the first field should always be the object that's calling this. The sprite is going to be surface 1. And form is harvest scoffin 0. What is surface 1? I don't remember what that is. Weird. Well, let's look this up. I don't know what that is. I don't remember anymore. And you have to do it this way in a while. Form marker. What is sprite? What the heck is marker? Oh, okay, so I'm just going to find some object so that we can get a position of it so it knows where to put it in the world. That wasn't that difficult. So surface 1, there must be an object called surface 1. That's what confused me, because the level's called surface. I'm like, what is that? So I'm going to find an object in the world. We'll put that in as a command, and I'll show you how to manually call this, or any function really, in the console. So first I got to make a text file for this creature. And box. Oh, yeah. No. All of this had been designed. I designed this in order to allow creatures to dynamically load in accordance to the storyline, as opposed to being fixed. A lot of games you won't have to do all this because it's not based upon a storyline per se. When you go into a level, if it's linear, that means that the creatures are always going to be there at the exact same spot, the exact same time. They might be triggered by an invisible collision box, but other than that, everything's fixed. With a storyline like this, you need to be able to call things dynamically, and you might have to recall the same thing over and over again. And so I had designed this entire system so it's very dynamic. But when I come back to it after a month or so, it's like, where is this stuff? There it is, extinction charts. Okay. So I'm going to find, where is the monsters here? Kaolith, we can make them kind. Ghost 0. Where are you? Put a ghost. Okay, we'll just use this one. We'll resave this as skeleton 0. Okay. And Elangi skeleton, okay. Okay, I gotta go through these now. Radar indicates sure I will want him on the map if he appears. That's cool. Total hit power, that's fine. Experience, that's fine. Description. Obviously, like that. Glossary name. He's a monster. That's what we need to know. Experience gives you 500. That's fine. He has a lightning spell image. That's fine. We'll leave him have the same generic sounds for right now. And he doesn't like players. He doesn't like rebels or slavers. And info. Put that in there. Okay. So skeleton 0. And we're going to use this. I used this command to put in the branches before. So let's go ahead and close this out. This video card does not like doing all this at one time. I'm not sure what's going on with this guy. he's set to wonder. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Oh, scoffing is taken off. Not sure why. Oh, okay, this doesn't have the ability. That's fancy. Okay. Should just be able to do this. How neat is this diffuse? Oh. I think we need all this other designs. I keep it as the zombie eyes, or as the glow texture. Take it. Alright folks, let's go ahead and finish this one up, if I can talk correctly. I'm getting a little tired, but we'll go through this and see what we can do. I just want to really retexture the entire skeleton and then put them together. I will finalize the mirror image in this video and combine them together and put them in the game and see what he looks like. Hopefully I can do this quickly. Hopefully these videos are peaceful with the music going on in the background, or not music, but the sound effects that recorded from the ocean. But I'm sure that it's probably not, or for some of you might actually like watching this, but this just shows for those that want to create their own models what it might take. This is clearly taken over 6 hours. It might be going on the level of 8 hours now. So you have to have dedication if you're going to do these things correctly. But in the end, I will have a model that is purely my own. So it's really cool. I think it's worth it, personally. But anyway, just let me know what you think, and let them do this now. Very crappy there. Much better. And we have a nice island. Make this dark. And outside. Alright. It's actually starting to look pretty cool. Yeah. Still want something done with this glossy. I guess it's not the end of the world, but I don't know. I kind of wanted a little bit of a dull texture here and there. A lot of unique texturing here. I love it. Normally you would paint each one of these separate, but in this particular case it's just a skeleton. One texture. There's no need to really have that much individualistic painting. You can if you desire, but I did not see a need to do that. As far as the races and characters go, yeah, each part needs to be painted separately. But as far as a unicolored skeleton, well, not exactly unicolored, but it has multiple shades and colors. I just don't think it requires that much complexity. It could just be a plain 512 by 512 texture that you wrap around the 3D model. This looks really good even right now. So I will say so myself. It's exactly at least what I was looking for. And so I'm going to take these bits and pieces apart, and they're going to be separate files, and I can load in as some of the background. So that's going to be interesting too. And this will become a monster to attack as well. So I will put in the programmed bones that are ironically named the same, and combine these parts to the various vertex groups so that I can start animating them. I doubt I can use the animations of the character now, or reuse them for this character, because unfortunately it turned out to be very different in structure. But I will try to name the vertex groups the same, and try to keep the bones and use the exact same bones, and hopefully maybe I'll end up with where I don't have to redo animations. But if I do animations, then